Okay, so I'm doing a hangout today. It's between Curiosity, Tim Demotivator, and Fat Garrett, the Sheriff of Stupidity.
And one thing I wanted to bring up is, of course, the whole Nazi punching, violence is wrong type argument.
Well, as feminists, I'm sure you're going to say it's all wrong because aren't you for equal rights and things like that for everyone?
I don't know about you two, but I've been involved in about 12 times a day, every day since.
Yep.
What, you've been involved in punching Nazis 12 times a day? Fucking hell, mate, you need to calm down a bit.
Because you want to punch people for disagreeing, don't you?
That's exactly what it is. It's purely because they say things I don't like and they disagree with me. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, well, one of the things I was thinking about it and thinking that it seems to me that there's good reason to want to punch people like Richard Spencer and Milo Yiannopoulos completely outside of anything to do with political ideology.
What are you talking about, Garrett? You just don't like the look of them or something? Or is it because Milo's gay, or is it because he's Jewish or something like that? I don't know. What are you talking about?
And it seems to me that things that aren't really political views are being labeled political views to make it seem worse to punch these people.
Oh, Garrett the decider on what is and what isn't. Is this a political view, Garrett? No, it doesn't align with mine, so it can't be a political view.
And, I was thinking about, with Milo Yiannopoulos, if I was in the same room as him, when he had if I was in that lecture hall or whatever it was, when he had singled out that trans student in front of a bunch of far-right, ideologue, hateful types, I would have probably punched him out because it was outrageous.
Yeah, whatever, Garrett. I've seen you sat down in a chair sweating like a right fat bastard. Well, I know Milo's style as well. He doesn't walk around the room taking the piss out of people at random. What he does is, people put their hands up or they stand up and shout shit. And this bloke in a dress probably just stood up and shouted shit and he got knocked back down with words.
But that is seen as like me silencing a political idea. No, it's not. It's me reacting to somebody being a complete piece of shit,
Old fat Garrett, the Sheriff of Stupidity, makes his own rules up. Don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And I think that it's the same with Richard Spencer. If you look at, there was a thing he's been putting out some insane tweets recently. I'm not going to go in. I didn't select any of them for this, but his reaction to some of the recent events just shows you that regardless of any of the things he says about black genocide or anything, which is obviously reason enough to punch him, in my opinion.
As soon as you start going down the path of being able to punch people for saying stupid shit, then everyone ends up with a fucking black eye.
But even regardless of that, the stuff he said, just like in reaction to recent events, just you realize this guy's just a piece of human garbage. And, if I'd been in the room with half of the things he said, I would have punched him out.
Well, if you're going to be doing that, I'd recommend you consult your doctor first, because taking on that much exercise at once at your size is not really good for you, is it?
Oh, it was the thing I was going to mention was, okay, when Trump forgot to mention Jews in his Holocaust memorial speech?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, Richard Spencer celebrated that.
What, did he have all his mates around his house and a cake and some pop? All his romper stomper mates around celebrating it with Trump forgot written on the cake.
He thought that was a good thing.
All people matter, bro. Like, everybody matters.
Oh,
everybody in World War II mattered. Why are you saying it's about the Jews?
And I think,
people.
if I was in a room with a guy who celebrated Trump doing that, and somebody punched him out, that's not somebody silencing a political opinion. That's somebody punching someone out because somebody said a shitty fucking thing.
As soon as you can start punching people for shitty ideas, you've lowered the bar, and that bar will just keep getting lower and lower and lower.
Is this how I'm a weak, lily-livered liberal? Because I don't agree with that. I don't think anyone should punch him. What I think should happen is that he should not have spoken in the first place. So
no, I'm not talking about it from a point of view of should it not have happened. I'm talking about the way it's being viewed.
Well, you have been talking about should it have happened, because you've pretty much said that you would punch Milo Yiannopoulos and you would punch fucking Richard Spencer.
Right.
As a legitimate political opinion, rather than them being bullying, harassing scumbags who say just.
Well, it's not mandatory that you have to listen to them or go to their events, is it? And how many times have I seen a fucking feminist getting into someone's face? Bloke just driving his car, got one of those Hawaiian things. That's cultural appropriation, that is. You'll be on Gawker. I'd have slammed the fucking brakes down hard and told her to fuck off.
Like cretinous stuff.
Well, you know what? Like Steve Shive said, talk shit, get hit, or whatever, which I actually don't agree with. But I was talking to someone on Twitter, and they were like, yeah, if you talk smack, you should get punched in the face. And then I'm like, wait a minute, but you're a guy against the Nazi punch, but you're saying it's okay on a just smack talk level to punch someone. Whereas I think we shouldn't be punching people. We should just be changing the way we should think about these speakers and whether they should be at the uni in the first place. So when the Black Bloc and the Antifa, they're doing tactics that I don't actually like, like the firecrackers and setting shit on fire and stuff, but their result of Milo not speaking, that's fantastic.
Well, you started off well there, Tim, but then you sort of fucked it up a bit, really, by not really calling out the Black Bloc. They did you no favours whatsoever. He was only going to speak in front of 500 people. He ended up speaking to millions, didn't he? And by the way, Tim, they did a bit more than fucking throw firecrackers around and set a few fires. They smashed up the town, smashed windows, beat a man whilst unconscious on the floor. And if this is part of your group, then you want to sort of think, because they maced a woman in the face. Is that what feminism is?
They celebrate the result. I would probably prefer they did it in a different way, but that's difficult to figure out how they should do it.
Well,
But,
I was in an argument last night, and what I was basically saying with the person who was condemning the Antifa actions, I was saying that like they shouldn't have had to do it.
Yeah, that's right. They shouldn't have had to mace that woman in the face with "Make Bitcoin Great Again" hat on while she had her back turned to them.
The admin of the university have it within their power to cancel it, to override the whatever organization it was to do it, and it will cause them political fallout. Well, not what's the non-political equivalent of political capital, like whatever capital, metaphorical capital.
Well, in this case, the opposite to political capital would be losing federal funding for being a cunt.
To do that, there'll be fallout on, and a negative side effects for them, or effects, I guess. But they could have done it.
Yeah, and we're like, we don't accept this kind of trash and propagandist bullying bullshit at our university, because all he's doing is, like, I did a rant about this yesterday, which I'll upload soon, where I just said all he's doing is sowing division on the campus and pitting groups of people against each other. That's got nothing to do with ideas. That's
right, Tim. Just shut down anyone with a different opinion to you. Live in your little echo chamber.
Yeah, I think that when he doxed and showed the picture and was so harassing towards that student, it was just beyond the pale. I mean, it's one thing to all of his stupid ass arguments, and his arguments are horrendous, right?
Right? Wrong.
The lesbians aren't real, climate change isn't real, 13-year-olds may be able to give meaningful consent. Who knows?
Well, I ain't heard any of that shit. But you'll be calling out Islam then, will you? For their child marriages and things like that? No, it's their cultural practice. We're intersectional feminists, aren't we? They're on our side.
But
everybody's a snowflake. We should have hate speech. Everybody's a snowflake, and everybody, like Milo Yiannopoulos' experience is the universal human experience where nobody ever gets offended. Nobody's ever struggling with persecution or anything. Everything's always perfect. That's why we should have hate speech.
But you cannot expect a university to bring somebody on to harass their students who are trying to learn.
What the fuck are you talking about? They invited him, for fuck's sake. They're not being harassed. Fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I mean,
that should be 100% disqualifying, in my view.
There's a whole other side. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say,
He should never be invited to any university. All right, I'll stop talking for people.
There's a whole other thing, which is that he's been caught using false statistics and speeches about black on black crime, and not black on, but just black crime. Before, and that have been debunked as completely false. Some of which have been traced to white nationalist origins. And I don't know, when you're caught, that's my objection to Ayaan Hirsi Ali speaking on campuses, is that she's been caught a bunch of times using fake stats, and that's not okay for an academic institution.
Well, but here's a question: does a university have standards, or should it have standards, and who sets the standards?
I don't think I've seen a feminist stat that is even close to being fucking accurate. You may as well say 1 in every woman gets raped every 6 seconds.
I think it should, but
well, I mean, reality is administration of what's a fake stat.
But I mean, for the university, the
a
administration
university has standards by default, because not every single, I don't go walking into Harvard and say, I'm here, where's my platform? You know, every university has standards.
Well, because you would need to be more popular or have an army of followers, and they'd say, yeah, sure.
And you'd also have to have something of value to offer.
And
Right.
they have a say within the university rules, and apparently within the United States federal law as well.
But it's because he's popular. It's got nothing to do with his like academic fidelity, which is 0. It's because he's got lots of followers.
But yeah, I mean, there has to be limits to who a student body can invite to speak on a university campus.
And let me guess, it should be the left who decide who talks at a university.
Yeah, it's
if Chrisiousity had an army of like Chrisiites or something,
which
like
I should.
you'd probably be able to muscle your way into some universities.
Yes, and I think I would try to use that responsibly, and I certainly would not harass the students there.
Well, it actually looked like the students were harassing Milo, not the other way around. They didn't have to go watch what he was saying. They could have just fucked off.
And then cry about it if they didn't want me back. I mean, God, they could get sued. They could get censure from the government for that on Title IX. It's ridiculous. This is grown-up world.
Yes, universities are for grown-ups. You know, they should be treated like grown-ups. Should get rid of the safe spaces, get rid of the trigger warnings, get rid of the idea that this is a fucking home. And part of growing up is coming across people with different ideas and being able to cope and deal with them.
This isn't little 12-year-old kid world. This is grown-up world now.
If you're popular and if you've got lots of followers, then you can get onto university. That's about it. And if you're political, and popular.
Yes, that's right. And they need to stop acting like fucking 12-year-old kids.
Yeah, whereas academic institutions should not just be seen as generic platforms for speech. They should have special consideration regarding things like propaganda.
Yeah, like, is there any academic worth to this, or is it just someone grandstanding? And I think Milo's just pure grandstanding.
Well, what actually happens is a feminist stands up with their vacated brain, state a load of shit, and then he puts it down quick as fuck. That's what you don't like.
Well, that, and I mean, the misinformation, you know? I mean, if someone wants to get out there and tell a personal story that can't be used in any kind of, I don't know, academic way, that's fine. But if he's lying in that speech to about a particular racial group to make them look as bad as possible, that's not the same, you know?
But what about also, like, just he's just there to promote himself, not spread any particular, critical thinking or anything.
What you're on about is not about fucking critical thinking. He's very critical of you fucking lot, isn't he?
Well, yeah, but this is capitalism. You could probably say that about a lot of people.
He's always like, I'm a faggot. I have sex with black people. Isn't this fantastic? And they're like, well, why?
Being a provocateur, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, well, why are you even here? You're just talking crap and saying, like, look at me. That's about it.
Well, if that's all it is, then why are you so fucking bothered? Why are you protesting him? No fucking point, then, is there?
I think it's bizarre.
Like the universities, when they write their things about why they decided to ignore student protest and like letters from like wealthy alumni protesting the decision to allow this guy to speak, they always go on about how he's a provocateur. It's like, well, it's not provocative to harass a trans student in a room full of far-right people. That's not so
it's just like, there's only two. By the way, there's only two genders. It's so provocative.
It is
provocative.
God.
There are only two biological fucking genders. What more do you want, you greedy bastard?
Yeah, it is provocative. So a lot worse than that. Yeah, I guess we should look at the first tweet. We'll be here forever.
Facts, not feelings.
I do want to say, because I'm going to get, people are going to be tweeting me, I would not hit him. I'm just not a hitter.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not advocating that either. I'm advocating that. I'm not even advocating the kind of Antifa protest. I want that to not be necessary.
And obviously it's not necessary, is it? Because you've raised nothing here. Nothing whatsoever. That would make a riot necessary.
I want the universities to realize they shouldn't be allowing this.
Exactly. That's my exact position.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So I was like, I didn't like the tactics, but the result is something I celebrate. But I wish they could get to that result in a different way, to be honest. So I'm fine with the
Richard
result.
Spencer should not be being interviewed on these major platforms, because his views are about ethnic cleansing.
Tim, you naive fucking moron. You celebrate the result of that. The result was a man being beaten unconscious and then beaten on the floor, a woman being maced, shops being burnt and things like that, smashed windows, all sorts of crap like that. And that's what you celebrate. You sure know how to fucking party, mate.
It's just beyond the pale. We have to accept that as a society. That's not a political opinion. That's just death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and saying like really insulting shit about the Holocaust is not a political opinion either. It's just being an asshole.
If someone's only using words, you still don't have the right to punch them, no matter how much you disagree with them.
Well, but when people say stuff like, well, that hasn't happened yet, and some people are just saying, he's just a clown, just let him say his clownish stuff, and everyone will be like, that's stupid. And I say, well, why is a clown speaking at a university? It still doesn't make sense to me.
Well, this is where Milo and Richard Spencer become one person.
I'd be like, you're a clown,
Yeah.
You can't come here.
Clowns should not talk about ethnic cleansing. If you've got a clown and you come to your little birthday party and he starts talking about, getting the black people out of your country, you need to fire his ass.
Yeah, kid's birthday party coming up soon. Think I'll hire the same clown as I got last year. Kids fucking loved him. Oh, what's his name? Coco the anti-fucking Semite. Milo Yiannopoulos is not going around fucking universities talking about fucking ethnic cleansing, you fucking retarded fucks.
Actually,
it's not a clown.
If they marketed it as come to this talk at the university and laugh at this joke of a human being who's just a fucking total piece of crap and throw tomatoes at him, I'd be like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah, but the thing is, the audience that watches him are the people in the right-wing student organization that invited him. So he's not getting. It's also an echo chamber.
It's
as
a
well.
hug box, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can see how these imbeciles formulate their own ideas. Milo Yiannopoulos does not go around universities talking about ethnic cleansing. These people are intellectually dishonest. They can justify anything and just insert their own reality. Well, that was the end of that section of that hangout, so I guess I'll catch you guys later. Bye!
Back in my day, we actually had to talk to each other, face to face.